Thank you for joining Disco Fam. It's Discover Crypto. We're powered by Arculus, and Jerome Powell is speaking right now. We're going to decipher what is he saying. What are we going to do with the Fed rate cuts? Is this going to be good for Bitcoin? Is this going to be bad for Bitcoin? What's going to happen if we get a rate cut in September? We're going to break all that down. But first, we just ask you, hit that like button, everybody. We got Josh with us, and we got TJ on the ones and twos. How are you two doing today?
Doing fantastic. Guys, as you guys come in, let us know. Are you bullish on federal interest rate cuts or are you bearish? Is it bullish or is it bearish for Bitcoin? Let us know in the chat here. Yeah. But I'm feeling good. You got Bitcoin right behind us, almost 58,000.
Okay.
Germany looks like, they're losing World War Bitcoin here and they're almost out of their Bitcoin supply.
Yeah, the biggest mistake in ages, many are saying here. Bitcoin, it says down 0.5%, but I just refreshed here and it says we are actually up 0.3%. So wonder what's going on over there. Maybe that updates, but Bitcoin is up 0.3%. Folks, don't worry. We're about to talk about Jerome Powell. We have the highlights. We're going to talk about that right after we cover these prices. ETH is up 1.1%. BNB is also up a little bit. See a couple coins flat like Solana, flat Toncoin, flat Cardano, getting a little bit of a pump after the red day yesterday. It's not looking too terrible. But what is the biggest gainer in the world, everybody? It is optimism. That is interesting. TJ, did you happen to watch my video last night?
I did see some of it, yeah.
Yeah, we talk about optimism. We talk about the levels and, maybe some bullish opportunities there. Folks, if you're not watching those 7 p.m. uploads, you are missing out. So make sure you have on those notifications. Floki is moving to the upside. Ando is now really close to $1. Josh, let's just say I didn't have the funds. I couldn't DCA in the 80s. I see Ando. It's near $1. Is Ando still a buy at 98 cents?
Well, it's a great question. There's some breaking news here that I don't know if we actually have pulled up.
You talking about the 500 million?
Close here. That's even better. But guess who is joining the tokenization world with 3 new projects? It is going to be none other than Goldman Sachs. So my point to this is everything with Ando seems to be bullish. If you go to RWA XYZ, let's just take a guess. Is it going to be up or is it going to be down? Our tokenized treasury is going to be up or
it's going to be up, man. It's going to be up. And just like our like count, maybe go ahead and hit that.
Hit it
didn't cost you anything. Just click that little button right there.
Well, U.S. treasuries, of course, up to $1.81 billion. This is just up and to the right. We have more institutions coming into the game, and Ando is that biggest competitor, right on par with Securitize, which is BlackRock's Biddle project, with $500 million in TVL. So I am incredibly bullish on this. I think it's one of the most bullish projects on the market. And yes, you guys are like, Josh is just always talking about Ando. I think I have every right to at this point. So
yeah, all right. Let's talk about some of the other winners and losers. Aave's looking good. Arbitrum's looking good. Phantom also moving to the upside. But it's not all green in the candles today. There are some red candles. And the biggest red candle of all is ZBEC Protocol, and then Flare, and then TIA. TIA is now down 2.9% after having a very, very strong week, pumped about 20%. Quant down, Brett down, Notcoin, Chainlink. Let's look at Chainlink. Let's double click on that one. I know we got a lot of Link Marines in the chat right now. Chainlink just over the last 3 months, kind of on the downtrend here. If we go back, let's just look for about a year here. Chainlink. TJ, are we back to trading in long channels for Chainlink just like we did for, I think, 500 days right here?
Yeah, I mean, it sure feels like it's definitely in that range. I'm not complaining about it because it's a pretty good accumulation range. It seems like a decent, as far as the top coins go, a really strong pick as far as market cap to relative upside compared to what's being actually used in the space. So I like Chainlink a lot. It's outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. It might be one of, it's probably in my top 5 favorite projects, maybe even top 3. So yeah, if it ranges for a little while before this big melt up, I'm here for it.
And speaking of range, look, it is definitely at the bottom of the range. Now, it does look like we have a trend line maybe heading to the downside here, but I do not hate getting some Chainlink at this level. I haven't DCA'd this week. I do usually like more speculative coins, something not outside or not in the top 20. But Chainlink is just looking maybe too attractive at these levels. I might have to get some Chainlink. Imagine being able to get that $11 dip right there. That would have been nice. But that was about it as far as all the strong projects go to the downside. We see anything else? Flare down, Quant down, Whiff down. Crow is down. I'm also kind of interested in Crow. I know Crow has that 5 cent psychological level. You can see right there, just had that 5 cent as support. Now we're at 8 cents, getting kind of dangerous. Look at that 3-month chart. What do you guys think about that 3-month on Crow?
Phew. I mean, 3-month doesn't look, I will say 3-month doesn't look great for most coins right now. It doesn't look great for Bitcoin either.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very, very fair point. Why? Because, of course, Bitcoin topped out in March. And if we look right here, this is probably going to be around March 17th, March 11th. So, close enough. That was March 28th. Yeah, a lot of coins on the downtrend from March. But we said we're going to talk about Jerome Powell. Let's talk about Jerome Powell. I did tweet out his latest tweet, if you guys can help me out here. The Chang hard fork is the most significant milestone in the history of Cardano. I couldn't believe that he said that, everybody. So if you want to help me out there, we're almost at 500 likes on that one. So let's push that above 500. But here's what he seriously said, folks. He is speaking, Bitcoin reacted, and here are the highlights. He's speaking to the Senate Banking Committee, everybody. Now, he's appeared in front of the cameras before the CPI and PPI data to be announced this week, and we're going to, of course, break that down once we get these numbers. Now, he made some important statements, everybody, besides the Chang hard fork. He's taken a cautious stance so far by stating that the more positive data is needed for interest rate cuts, saying that more data is needed for the interest rate cuts. I like how they repeat that there. First quarter data did not support greater confidence in the path of inflation that the Fed needed to cut interest rates. It is inappropriate for the Fed to cut rates until it gains more confidence that inflation is sustainably moving towards 2%. Signaling, TJ, we're kind of talking about this. We don't have to wait for 2% to get the cuts. If we're heading in the right direction, that's when we might start seeing some cuts. What are your thoughts on cuts in September, yay or nay?
Yeah, I think they will cut towards the end of this year, September, maybe November. But what's important when you're listening to him talk is being able to read between the lines. He'll say a lot of things. He's always going to say, we need more data. We're waiting on this. We're watching that. And that's true.
Yeah, he's the king of saying a lot while saying nothing.
Yes. I mean, that's kind of his job, is to come out there and make statements without, he knows everybody hangs on every word that he's speak. So
he said this adjective instead of the other adjective he did last month. Well, let me market sell everything.
Right, which is kind of what we're doing too. But I like to try to read between the lines. Don't take it word for word with what he said. There's a couple key sentences in there, which I don't know if this article highlights. And some of these are from not necessarily from what he's saying right now to Senate, but it's what he was saying to other central bankers in a meeting last night. And so when he was meeting with central bankers around the world, he was basically indicating, starting to make the case for rate cuts and saying, he thinks the official target could change from 2% a year from now, meaning they're not always going to be targeting 2%. Like if they don't quite get there, they might get to cutting rates sooner. Now, again, he's saying within a year. That could be September. That could be beginning of next year. But he also made another statement cautioning against being too tight policy-wise for too long. So according to what I'm seeing, when I'm reading between the lines, they're starting to shift their concern from worrying about inflation to worrying about the entire economy crashing or entire recession in the United States and unemployment going out of control. And if they've been trying to get inflation under control, but if unemployment gets out of control, if the jobs start trending, the jobs report start trending the wrong direction, that's much, much harder for them to get a handle on.
Yep.
So they'd rather print and maybe lose a handle on inflation than lose a handle on the entire economy.
Yeah, because if they print, they can point at some of the metrics and say, hey, we're doing the right thing. And you're like, well, what about bread prices or gas prices? They're like, no, look over here.
Exactly.
Like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Talk about Notcoin. I'll talk about Notcoin in a bit. 2020. I see your messages there. All right, here's some other things he was saying. High inflation, not the only risk that we face. More positive data will strengthen our confidence in inflation. Wow, really going out on a limb with that statement there. Restrictive policy helps reduce downward pressure on inflation. Incoming good data will strengthen our confidence in the decline in inflation. As a result, we made significant progress towards the 2% target. Latest indicators show the U.S. economy continues to grow at a solid pace. We continue to make decisions in meetings. At the same time, in light of the progress made over the past 2 years in both reducing inflation and cooling the labor market, high inflation is not the only risk that we face. Reducing restrictions too late or too little could weaken economic activity. We're determined to return inflation to our 2% target and firmly anchor long-term inflation expectations. Here's another update. Some responded to some questions. The economy has now reached pre-pandemic level. However, we are still trying to create a balance. If we cut interest rates quickly, the work we have done to reduce inflation may be in vain. So this is kind of a key statement. If we cut quickly, the work we've done may be in vain. This is maybe signaling, we are planning on cutting, but maybe not 5 meetings in a row, 5 cuts in a row, maybe 1 or 2 cuts, and then a cool down period. Maybe monitor the economy. that kind of what you're predicting as well?
That's what he's starting to talk about. Is he's not talking about not cutting. He's talking about when we cut, we have to do it right. We can't do it too fast. We can't do it too slow. We can't do it too late. So I think, he's leaning more towards smaller cuts earlier, maybe giving some more time in between. Obviously, if you were in his position, you would want to do a little cut, see what, wait for the reports to come in, see how it affects the data, cut a little bit more if you need to. But you don't want to get to a point where you have to, like you said, like what they did, the way they tightened it, was one of the fastest tightenings anybody's ever experienced. I mean, it went from zero for an absorbently long time all the way up to where it is now. And now they don't want to go all the way back down to zero. So, I think being able to do some small cuts and then let it breathe makes more sense.
That is a very good point. They can't reduce it too quickly because then maybe they'll say, did you raise it too quickly? And then that would admit a mistake, and they can't do that, of course. We want to go back to the time of low interest rates. Although high interest rates may strain the markets in the short term, this is what's needed in the long term. So long term, they do want to have low interest rates. They're going to work towards that. And maybe even if they shouldn't, they're probably going to be heading in that direction. Now, we got some other Chang hard fork. Bitcoin. Now, we also have some whales. So while all this is happening, while we got Jerome Powell speaking, whales have been buying in a major way. And yes, we're going to talk about Germany. Germany just reached a major milestone, everybody. This is very, very good news for Bitcoin. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I do want to answer some of your questions here. They tighten faster than whoever choked. Oh my God. I literally have a desk kind of blocking the bottom of that. Oh, whoa. Oh, that one makes my forehead almost sweat. Speaking of forehead, TJ, I know this isn't crypto. I ran into my doorway frame very hard last night around midnight, 12:30.
Wow.
Messed me up. You ever hit your head so hard a noise comes out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that hard. So you could maybe see a little bit of a red mark there, but mostly my brow bone. So if you see any bruises on my face, I'm not abused. Not abused. All right. Bitcoin rebounds towards 60K. TJ's not that mean of a boss, y'all. Bitcoin rebounding towards 60K, but choppiness likely to persist, according to analysts. The market for Bitcoin will have to absorb 4 billion to 7 billion of Bitcoin selling pressure throughout the middle of the year, which will weigh in on prices. A lot of that is due to Germany, everybody. Here's some interesting leaders for the CoinDesk 20 index, up 2.4%. ICP Cardano, getting a little bullish there, folks. The grind higher could last a while Bitcoin potentially reach 60K, but the rally will be short-lived. The 55 to 56 range is forming a base from a technical analysis perspective. However, given the technical damage, we anticipate no more than a short-term tactical bullish counter-trend rally. That's a long, convoluted way of saying, any dip will just be short-lived, everybody. Now, back to the Germans. Breaking. German government portfolio now drops below $1 billion. They were in the billions. We covered it yesterday. They just passed the 50% point. Now they're under $1 billion. TJ, what are your thoughts on the health of the Bitcoin market, absorbing billions of dollars in a very short amount of time? I was surprised Bitcoin only fell that amount.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see the strength, the buying strength. I mean, obviously, we've seen the ETFs inflows ticking up, people buying pretty heavily in that 55, 56 range and moving quickly back up above 58. Then they just sell more again. It gets pushed back down. So I'd say that it's absorbing it pretty well. It would have been great if they didn't obviously dump all this stuff all at one time.
So they sold maybe the apex asset, the best asset, the asset with the fixed supply that is deflationary by nature or disinflationary by nature. They sold Bitcoin, the world's best asset, for euros, which they print at will.
Yeah.
How does that make any sense to you?
Like I've said it before, the only way it makes sense is if they're very short-term mindset, like they need this money now and they can't wait for the long term. Like it really baffles me that anybody would make this decision, but I think that article did make a good point that it did push things at least temporarily out of the technical structure that it's supposed to be into. I know it broke the 200-day moving average, which isn't good. I'm not sure exactly what that number is, if 58 gets us above it or not. If we wick down below it temporarily, it's not too dramatic, but the longer we stay at these lower levels, the harder it will be to climb back above 60 and back up to all-time highs. So I would like to see us, at least by the end of this week, get above 58 and even climb back towards 60. It'd be making me feel a lot better from the TA perspective, even though I'm not really a big TA person. But overall macro, I mean, so many bullish macro things looking, between on-chain data, hash rate, miners capitulating, ETF inflows. We got Ethereum ETF coming this week. Rate cuts coming. I still believe this year, end of this year, September. Lot of things looking very, very bullish for September, November of this year into Q1 of next year, which is right in line with the timing of the cycle.
Right in line in the timing of the cycle where Bitcoin's starting to look bullish and some of the altcoins look like they might even outperform Bitcoin. And then when you start thinking, well, dang, what if Bitcoin doubles over the next 12 months? And then this triples, quadruples, or even quintuples against Bitcoin. You're like, is my altcoin about to do a 10x? It is, everybody, but only if you hit the like button. All right, permanent holders. Okay, so we're talking about, the German selling. Well, who the hell is buying? It was you. No, it was permanent holders, mostly custodial wallets with no outflows. What?
Nice.
Accumulating 85,000 Bitcoin in the last 30 days. So the permanent holders, the diamond hands that don't have outflows, have accumulated 85,000 Bitcoin. These wallets are neither ETFs, exchanges, nor miners. During the same period, 16,000 Bitcoin flowed out of ETF holdings, while some panic sell, the others are buying. TJ, besides Justin's son, who are the others? No, Sons takes profit, of course. Who are the others? I'm thinking sovereign nations?
No, I mean, it could be anybody, really.
I'm thinking like Russian government.
It could be wallet. A lot of that. I think really what it is, it's a lot of people that have been around this space for a long time, the deep whales that you don't really hear about. You're not going to see anything. These are people that have controlled a lot of Bitcoin probably for quite some time. It could be some new players trying to get a big stack fast. I could see that. But most likely when they're talking about these permanent holders, these are people that have held a lot of coins. They know when markets are about to move and they know when it's a really good time to accumulate, and they're probably, accumulating themselves. So
now, do you think there's any, like maybe some private families, some wealthy families, maybe divesting real estate, gold, et cetera, into just long-term Bitcoin holdings, reaching that 5% of a family's net worth?
Absolutely. I mean, I know that's happening. We hear people talking about it all the time, and it doesn't have to be public. It doesn't have to be in the news, but it's happening for sure. And that private money is who's accumulating right now. And this is part of why we know these things are really going to blast up going forward, because like I said, those wallets don't have outflows. So the people that are buying these things are planning to hold them for quite a long time. So,
yeah, I would agree. This is maybe like to the children, like long time. This is, maybe some forever holds here. He scratches his nose twice. Help is on the way. All right. Anyone sees go and buy some Notcoin. Notcoin is a gaming ton coin narrative play and probably going to do great. I'm just not the best person to give any strong opinions on ton and Tron. I just hate the letters T, O, and N. All right. Sorry, it's Notcoin. You're going to get thrown under the bus there. Satoshi era wallets keep returning from dormancy, and it's highly unusual. Back to some of these old money people. A dormant address containing 24 Bitcoin has been activated for the first time in 11 years, but it's not so much that just this one guy, like 10 of them all together. Here's the second just in the last 24 hours. We also had an address containing almost $10 million in Bitcoin that was activated after 10 years of dormancy. Similar addresses also woke up on the 8th and the 6th with millions of dollars of Bitcoin, respectively. And we've already recorded 10 reactivated Satoshi-era Bitcoin addresses in July so far, only 10 days into the month, which is an unusually high number because as these wallets, they're no longer in the unmoved category.
Yeah.
No coin has moved since Satoshi's era. We're reducing those numbers of wallets. And so seeing this big spike in July, there's a lot of speculation, who are these wallets? Why are they selling or moving these tokens? Why are they maybe taking some profits here? Well, the latest reactivation coincided with Bitcoin reclaiming a $58,000 level in a hopeful sign for bulls. According to the head of research at CryptoQuant, the new Bitcoin whales are currently in the process of realizing losses. Market analysts noted that the largest Bitcoin whales are currently heavy accumulation. According to Garner here, the current behavior of major whales resembles the previous two cycle bottom. So, the whales, they're coming in, they're DCAing, not going to catch the exact bottom unless they're the ETH Foundation. And so, they might start buying near the bottom. 3 days after they start buying, they could be down $400 million. Why? They're buying billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. I think long-term, these whales are going to be quite happy. Typically, the whales are making the smarter moves than the plankton, than the shrimp, than the guppies, everybody. It's a huge deal when you have millions of profits. You got to take some off the table at some point. We all want property and be able to travel comfortably. No, yeah, we're not immortal beings. We're not vampires. We can't buy Bitcoin and then just lay in a coffin for 300 years. Yeah, we gotta buy coffee, gasoline, stuff like that. Doesn't know. Okay, now I'm a homeboy. Let's see. Melt's face. You are being marketed to. Web. What are we marketing anything? You know what I am going to market? Cold storage, everybody. Yeah, you're going to make me turn into a shill. Why? Because I believe in cold storage. Why? We don't want you folks to get wrecked out there. All right. Speaking of wrecked, 16th largest whale in the world. There's not many people that have more Bitcoin than this wallet. They bought 50,000 Bitcoin before the correction. They've lost $500 million. TJ, do you think this whale cares?
No, that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? I honestly think they probably don't care because they're a long-term accumulator. Imagine having so much conviction in an asset. You lose $500 million and you're like, I'm buying more tomorrow. That's what the mentality that we're talking about with these whales. The whales are going to move this. And like TJ said, I think we're in that time of the market where this is going to be the best time to be involved getting into Bitcoin. So folks, make sure you have on those notifications here.
Yeah, it's fascinating seeing so many, like I said, 10 of those Satoshi Era wallets in the last month. I mean, that is very rare. Like you said, I mean, these are wallets that haven't moved in a very, very long time. Very, very old active wallets. These people are, what's interesting about this is a lot of people that were early in Bitcoin, not all of them, but people that were staying relevant, movers and shakers, they're now, movers and shakers on a global scale. I would say if they've been kind of close to the center of Bitcoin and then Ethereum and then anything else relevant that is launched in this space over the last 10 or 12 years, they've made not just a small fortune, but a reasonably sized fortune that is comparable to some nations out there. So they're new people with a seat at the table. And when you see several of these things moving around all at once, I think somebody said it in the chat, like something's happening and things are shifting in the global order and the wealth of the world, not just from old money to people that have been involved in Bitcoin and crypto, like having a new seat at the table. But it really is like changing for classes, across the board. So it's pretty wild.
We got a comment from Balls, aka Huevos. Bitcoin is dropping. You have no idea what you're talking about. Well, I went to the charts. Bitcoin has been dropping for a whopping 10 hours. Yeah. We have been falling for about 10 hours here since 1 a.m. last night. It's 11 a.m. for the time zone I'm in. But then when you go the 7-day, TJ, I see a pretty good sustained rally. I see a higher low. We zoom out. I mean, I don't know what kind of time frame you're talking about. Yeah, Bitcoin is going to drop. Bitcoin is going to rise. I am a long-term investor here. Yeah, you're right. Bitcoin is dropping. Bitcoin is dropping.
It's the German government selling it. I mean, it pumped last night.
Yeah, we had billions hit the market.
No, I mean, we pumped all the way up to 59 and change, I think, last night. And then the markets opened up today. They sold another swatch, and now we're back below 58 a little bit, which, again, it's messing with the TA structure a little bit, but realistically, it's showing some pretty good resilience. So I think if we can exhaust the rest of this German selling and stay above 58 and move back towards 60, it'll be interesting to see how they handle the Mt. Gox stuff. But I mean, between rate, I think we're going to see rate cuts in September and November. We're going to see 16 billion getting sent back to FTX holders. That'll all flow back into the market in September, November. We're going to have a new election around then. Like, there's going to be so many macro trends setting us up for a really bullish Q4 and a really bullish Q1 of next year. And now is the time to be getting yourself positioned, whether you're talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum or altcoins. I really think you've had some time this year to accumulate, and it's always funny. Price goes up and you're like, man, I wish I bought at these prices. Prices comes down, and now we've had a couple months probably to accumulate here. A couple different times we've wicked down into these areas. And if you're not accumulating, if you're not taking advantage of this opportunity, I think you're really going to regret it.
Your kids are going to hate you.
Yeah,
okay?
You're going to probably regret it Q4 and Q1 because you're like, man, I had a time and I got scared, and that just don't get scared. I think you said it right earlier. Have conviction in the assets that you're buying and know what time frame you're willing to hold them for, and don't panic sell. And you should.
Grandpa, what did you do during the greatest wealth transfer in mankind's history? I was scared. No, that is not the answer. That is, you want to be the hero of your family story. The hero is going to hodl. everybody. I want to read one question here. JT, this is Jay-Z's cousin. He's Illuminati adjacent. Let's keep being patient for a little bit longer. The market is taking German Bitcoin pretty well. I would agree with that. Speaking of the market taking it, though, this is bull market drawdowns. Okay, you can see we skipped the bear market because the lines would be off the chart. No, I mean, you can't go below the zero line. But so you see drawdowns in the 2017 bull run there. The highest we reached, I'm surprised it was only this much, 32%. Then the 2020 bull market, I mean, they actually give us the COVID crash. So, I mean, they're kind of, some might say you could start at COVID crash. Some would say, no, you got to start at the bottom there. Take away the COVID crash. We had the Chinese ban on miners. Do you remember that ban? The summer lull, the Bitcoin Miami. We're like down 10, 15K from where we were a month before, but we're still bullish, right? We're still bullish, right? Then like June and July comes, we were just like, our ears are ringing. That was a 53% drawdown. We've only hit, we're beyond 23%. Josh, could you actually see what our current drawdown is? Oh, maybe they're doing short term.
Chat. I am back.
He's back. He's back in the saddle again.
I will give you an update in a moment, but yes, give me 1 second.
So with these little drawdowns, I don't think now is the time to turn bearish. When you look at this chart, if you get bearish now,
we dropped roughly 26%.
Probably gonna regret it, folks.
26% from the actual all-time high, and then the second run, it's only been roughly a 25.3%.
Yeah, folks. So calm down, zoom out. I do not think we could see more corrections. I'm not going to be flipping bearish here, folks. TJ, what do you think? I mean, I'll say this. How about this question? 25% going to be the biggest drawdown? I don't think it will be. I think we're going to have more pain this bull run. What do you folks think?
I mean, there's always a bear market. So,
no, during the bull run.
During the bull run, I mean, historically you get 25, 30%, but I wouldn't be surprised if, this is the worst. I think there's also a level of, okay, if we're going to go to, eventually Bitcoin will be at $4 trillion, $5 trillion market cap, and you're not going to have 30% dips when we're at those type of levels. They're going to be 15% dips, right? Yeah. So there is this level of, as we grow as a market, the pullbacks will diminish. However, that doesn't mean altcoins aren't going to get brutally wrecked. I do believe altcoins might see those 50, 60, 70, 80% drawdowns, while Bitcoin may still only see 20%.
All right. TJ, was 25% the biggest drawdown, or do you think we'll exceed it?
That's a good question. He's traditionally in the past, I think we have, but I do think
we're supposed to be a more mature market. We're supposed to be trending in this direction.
I think 25%, to be honest, I think this could be, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, it kind of depends on how high we go, on how bullish you are. If you think we're going all the way up to, over 200, 220, things like that, you're going to need some crazy volatility. And we're just now starting to experience the volume and volatility. So 25%, is it going to be the small? No, I'll say no. I'll say if we get 150, we could see a huge drawdown from 150 back under 100 or something like that, which would really get people freaking out. Mm-hmm. And then maybe go all the way up to 200. I don't know. But
imagine a run up to 95 and a pullback down to 70. Right. That's pretty significant right there. Josh, a lot of speculation on you stepping away. I'll just read one that's not too upsetting here. Someone toasted Josh's Wonder Bread.
Oh, that almost upset my stomach, dude.
Tummy.
Yeah, that is upsetting. It upset my stomach. Just reading that. No, guys, I stepped away because I have actually breaking news for you all. Unfortunately, there is a time difference here, and we did get an announcement from CoinW last night while I was sleeping that they decided to list Shubaduki here this morning. Now, unfortunately, okay, this is going to be delayed by about 24 hours because I have to be up and actually activate the market maker account to make this happen. So we have two things happening in the next 24 to 48 hours. One, we're doing a massive giveaway. I'm doing $10,000 worth of giveaways that I've already financed for the company and for CoinW here. If you put $50 with the referral link from this quote tweet right here or in our Telegram, you're going to qualify for those giveaways. You have to leave the $50 on the exchange. You guys are going to qualify for those giveaways. Two, the original post was to be on July 12th. I tried surprising everybody doing it the 10th, but logistically, it didn't make sense. So this should be up within 24 to 48 hours. It's completely on me. There's no issues. There's no FUD. There's no nothing like that. It was literally just because of time difference and unfortunately the association between those two different regions.
Yeah, he's going to stay up late until his eyes are bloodshot red and raw.
I'm going to be up all night for this. But yeah, we have Shubaduki listing on its first exchange, a major exchange, CoinW. It's a beautiful, it's a tier 2 exchange here that I do believe could be a tier 1. And I'm excited for this. I am beyond excited. Cool. Also, breaking news. Check this out.
Okay.
Guess what's out today? Anybody see this today? I don't know if they did. I can't double click on this. FOMO.io. The new website
There it
is up.
Oh, there
So
it is.
Shubaduke is all over the website as well. So we got some big updates, big news, and everything coming out for these over the next 24 to 40 hours. Sit tight, get excited. And yeah, I'm really excited for this. So I just took an emergency call because I wanted to get everything settled.
Nice. All right, cool. Speaking of calls, hey, I did a pod with Coin Exams yesterday. I just want to give them a big shout out. They've done they went with T Shroom not that long ago. So pretty cool. Keep an eye out for that. I'll probably post it whenever they update that. All right, now this is pretty cool. I'm going to cut the sound. I don't know what they have here. ETFs bought 3,700 Bitcoin, $216 million worth yesterday. We're not talking about for the week. We're not talking about for the month. Yesterday, 216 million. IBIT, aka BlackRock. What do you know? BlackRock's winning the race here. 2,100 Bitcoin. So very, very strong amount right there. Probably over 100 million right there. So good job, BlackRock. All right, Richard Tang tweeting out here, in 6 months, U.S. listed Bitcoin ETFs brought in over almost $15 billion in net inflows. Key takeaway, interest in Bitcoin and digital assets remains high. Token prices and market caps fluctuate, but the long-term fundamentals of our industry is strong. Stay focused, keep building. This is just a good theme for the show today. Now is not the time to get shaken out. Now is not the time to leave the rocket ship, everybody. You do not want to be jumping off the rocket ship. All right, here's just a great example of DCA being a great strategy. If you bought $100 a month worth of Bitcoin starting exactly 5 years ago, you have spent $6,100, 61 months. You have acquired, well, exactly 5 years ago, it would be 60 months. Nice. Anyways, I digress here. You will have 0.31 Bitcoin worth $18,000. Annual return, 24%. Total return of 192%. Your $6,000 would be worth $18,000 today. Bitcoin is a phenomenal long-term savings tool. I would agree with that. I would say, if I was a high school student right now, if I was college, I'm donating plasma, I'm doing whatever. I'm not putting 20, 50 bucks in my savings account. I'm not putting it into Robinhood. I would just DCA Bitcoin. I think that would be the best strategy. You fast forward, it might be buying your house in your 20s when everyone else is going to be renting.
Yeah, I mean, what they say a lot is, Bitcoin is where you want to keep your. You want to use businesses or invest in other things to create wealth, and then you want to save and preserve your wealth in Bitcoin. So that's one way to look at it. And some people look at altcoins and other things as like, hey, I want to make my money in altcoins, and when I take the profits, I take it all back into Bitcoin, and I preserve my wealth in Bitcoin. However you want, whether it's you run a business, whether you want to speculate on altcoins, you're a day trader, whatever it is, putting your savings in Bitcoin over time, especially over a 4 or 5 year plus time period, always pays off. So
yeah, for sure. Well, now we have to say 5. It used to be 4. Remember that?
I mean, it could be 4. It just depends on where you are. I mean, right now it'd only have to be like 2. So.
Well, what about when we crashed below 20? When we hit 16? I'd have to look, but yeah, I know it had increased in length. There was a period where it's like this amount of time, you're always in profit. And then we dipped below 20K during that crash, and I think that shrunk it, but I might be wrong. All right, U.S. Senate suggests blockchain to test national security application. We always love seeing this, more U.S. government involvement on some level, at least. U.S. Senate Committee on Armed Services tasked the Secretary of Defense, retired General Lloyd Austin, with exploring potential applications of blockchain technology for enhancing supply chain management and other national security functions within the DoD. According to the committee, blockchain technology could significantly improve the integrity of defense supply chains, enhance data accuracy, and mitigate the risk of data manipulation or corruption by near-peer competitors. This is good, but it's also bad because there's going to be no real way to make money off of this. You're not going to be able to buy some military logistics coin and then, make money off of it because these are all going to be private blockchains. They're not going to have, this is how we transfer ammunition and a foreign agent can 51% attack the coin. So they might leverage existing blockchain technology, but it'll be closed ecosystems. You're not going to be able to have an opposing nation just, buy up all their crypto, then, wreck their tanks. That's not really a thing that can happen. Let's talk about the SAB 121 bill. Just real quickly, looks like crypto sector on edge as the House gears up for a landmark vote on this bill. The bill is going to require banks to hold crypto, essentially. The proposed rule would require entities that hold cryptocurrencies and report to the SEC to include those holdings on their balance sheets. They don't have to do this with other assets. with crypto custodial firms expected to report customer crypto holdings as liabilities. Critics worry that this could deter banks from offering crypto services and stifle innovation. This is, BJ loved this topic. Just the banks, you give them $100. Back in the day, they'd hold your $100. Then there's a period where they have to hold $10. Today, they don't have to hold anything. But what they're making the rules for Bitcoin, you hold my $100 billion or $100 worth of Bitcoin. Well, if it's cash, you can go invest that. You have a incentive to hold my money. With Bitcoin, you can't invest my Bitcoin. You must just park the Bitcoin and just have it sit in the bank. Banks have no interest in that. And so it's probably, we don't want this, but we do want this vetoed. Biden, definitely against the crypto industry with this, veto, but the way the bills work, it does pass through the House and Senate, but then the president vetoes. It can go back to the House with the supermajority that can then make it a law. All right, Citi analysts predict 8 weeks of rate cuts starting in September. Powell seeks evidence there. So I don't know if you saw this Citi prediction. I'm a little bit wary of the Citi prediction. I don't know. We'll end up seeing. I think kind of what me and TJ were saying. I think he's going to do 1 or 2 cuts, and then I think they're going to pause for a while.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, Citi obviously is a pretty big bank. You have to, when they make predictions like that, you at least need to pay attention to them. They made some predictions last year about the rate hikes, and they weren't 100% accurate, but they weren't necessarily too far off either. And a lot of times there are people think like, oh, this sounds crazy, and it ended up playing up a lot closer to Citi's predictions than what some of the other things. Now, Standard Charter, another one, comes out sometimes with some crazy predictions. And a lot of times they're not going to nail it 100%, but you at least want to pay attention to it because they've got obviously a vested interest, and there's a reason they're making these predictions. And maybe this is their way of trying to push Jerome Powell to, follow through with maybe that's what they want. They're predicting, they're trying to law of attraction or whatever, just kind of put it out there and hope it happens. But, either way, any rate cuts would be good in my opinion, for risk on assets, whether it's Bitcoin or anything else. So if we can get the money printers flowing, people will be willing to take more risks again because there'll be more upside. So,
Drag Dub says, no one at this channel believe in the possibility of Bitcoin being rugged by validators, and Michael Saylor is called MicroStrategy. No, it's game theory. So I'm just a strong believer in incentives.
Same thing. And if it was going to be somebody, it definitely wouldn't be MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor. I think you're overestimating that. I mean, he's got some influence, but not.
And I mean, at this rate, he's going to be one of the richest people in the world.
Yeah.
It's out of the last 10 years, he's outperformed almost every institution that exists. So it doesn't make sense. It's like saying BlackRock's just gonna.
If anyone's doing it, would be the U.S. dollar is slowly being replaced. If the U.S. dollar slowly gets replaced by Bitcoin as a reserve currency, I can see the U.S. government fighting Bitcoin in a major way. They would actually have some means to do real harm, but I wouldn't worry about validators. I guess technically, government could backdoor their way in. I just don't see that happening there. Well, folks, we're also going to talk about XRP in a bit.
I love that point. Are you going to talk about that with Gary the Lizard right there?
No, go ahead.
Honestly, it's hard to pull out 7K or more from a bank at a time. I love that because as Germany was selling off all their Bitcoin, there was moments where they had to add it to an exchange and then take it off because there wasn't enough liquidity. And I saw Fudsters on Twitter, there's a Bitfinex Twitter. They're like, haha, look at the government. You know it's a frail market when they can't sell off that much Bitcoin. I'm like, yeah, go to the bank and try to just pull out even 10 grand, let alone billions of dollars, right? We're talking, this is the most liquid market that exists, 24/7, 365. And yes, you have to go OTC, and there's other ways that you might need to be able to sell that off, but you can't do that at a bank. You can't just go pull out this much money from a bank and just take it out. That doesn't exist. There's no money at bank. So thought it was a really good point from Gary the Lizard.
What about Bitcoin being a psyop to get us all on a one world currency? There's arguments that reserve currencies are the one world currency over time. It used to be Dutch, it used to be French, it used to be British, now it's American. So I mean, you can make that argument. Bitcoin, you could apply that to US dollars. That'd be my response there. You have to tell them I'm buying a used car. That's also a good one there. Also livestock. You got to buy some horses.
Yeah. And shout out real quick. We got Crimson Caravan in the company. Says you want to check out what top 5 gaming coins are. Check out. And he posted his tweet there. He does a lot of our gaming stuff. It's on the Discover Crypto Twitter account. So I'll pin this real quick in case anybody wants it. But yeah, he does a lot of the stuff on the Twitch channel. So if you're interested in Web3 games, Crimson Caravan Company, or CCC as they call them here sometimes, will know a lot about that. So
all right, CMG, he's going to the place where they get free steaks and wings on Friday at lunch there. All right, but speaking of banks, we got some pretty major news with the world's most populated country. Talking about China. Oh, I'm sorry, India. But no, China, Xing Bank of China went bankrupt yesterday, folks. The event is beginning. China's banking sector is facing a full-scale crisis. In 1 week, 40 banks have disappeared, absorbed into larger institutions. This is this is a look of the line outside the bank right now. A lot of people trying to get in and trying to get their funds there. We go to the next post here. Chinese state banks face new pay limits amid corruption investigations affecting executive pay and talent retention. The country's economic slowdown and skewed wealth distribution are key issues. China's rising Coast Guard tensions with, China cracks down on bankers' salaries. We'll say this: China doesn't incentivize high-performing executives. Just kind of looking at Jack Ma, kind of looking at what's going on here, and we'll see how this plays out. It is a great populist moment, though, to just go after rich bankers. So this is going to be an easy win for the populace. See what the long-term ramifications are. Let's talk about BlackRock. BUIDL has surpassed $500 million in market value, making it the highest valued tokenized treasury fund in the world. Here they're discussing why it was so successful. If you want to check this out, we're going to listen to about 30 seconds.
Hold on 1 second. You got to hold the audio. All right, go ahead. You got your audio in?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing it.
It looks like Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, I don't have your audio.
Okay. But basically, just the BUIDL fund. Josh has been on that from day one, so I just want to give Josh a pretty good shout out on calling that one.
Oh,
imagine that. Following BlackRock's wallet would be a good strategy.
Who would have thought?
That sounds crazy to me.
Who would have thought following the biggest institution
There's
in the
only
world
two things better than that. Number one, Nancy Pelosi stock tracker. You got to follow that. Number two, Discover Crypto, everybody. If you're not subscribed, we are the hardest working channel in all of crypto. We're the James Brown of crypto. So, folks, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you have notifications on. Goldman Sachs to launch 3 tokenization projects. Are you paying attention yet? So, big news. Yeah, the big banks, government. There's a lot of big players in the background making moves right now. Do not get shaken out. Top RWA projects by fully diluted valuation. Number 1, Ando Finance. Josh, does that mean some of these other ones have maybe better days ahead of them? Like a Goldfinch? I know our chat is very bullish on GFI. A lot of people like Mantra. Fully diluted, they're just a fraction of Ando. So would you still say you like Ando more than, say, a GFI?
I would have to say yes, but look, this is where you diversify. I'm not going to say don't diversify into a lot of these other ecosystems out there, but Ando is clearly the dominant player here. I mean, it's as big as Securitize and BUIDL's fund. They have $500 million in it, and BlackRock has huge ties to it. So can Goldfinch, there's Swarm Markets, there's Maple, there's a lot of other ones that are listed on
Maple. Maple's cheap.
It's cheap as well. So this is where, again, I'm allocating that portfolio. Ondo's my heavy hitter in that position, but I'm also diversified into, Truflation, there's TrueFi, there's a lot of other tokenized plays out there that I want to be exposed to. Are they going to be as performative? I can't tell you in the future, but I do believe and know that there's one fact in this market right now, that is tokenized treasuries are ramping up. So tokenization is that narrative. It's not a narrative. It is the narrative. And I want to be exposed to that market.
Gennaro, yeah, we're not like James Brown in all aspects. That's a terrible example, I guess. Who else works hard?
I don't know. Easy beats me behind the scenes.
Oh, no. The bruise was from Josh. He was defending himself. All right, I looked up Maple. There's only one thing I don't like about Maple. I do like the market cap. The market cap, 90 million and almost fully, I don't want to say almost fully diluted here.
I believe it's backed by Coinbase too, if I'm not mistaken.
Almost 80% of the tokens are out. If there's anything that would make me hesitant, it's an older project. So, can an old project from, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, old project have all the tech, the OP stacks and, it's able to work with all the EVMs and do all these things if it was made 3 years ago versus something, maybe being built in the last 12 months.
And if you click market cap, it's only 2x from, its all-time high.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's or 3x or so. So, there's been some dilution to it. But again, this is where people need to realize this altcoin season isn't going to be like 2021. Don't expect your 50 and 100x's. There's a lot more competitors and a lot bigger sector. And so, a 2 to 3x, you're crushing it in these markets. And so can this do that? Only a 90 million market cap. That's not something I see being too complicated or complex. And they got a clean website. I am pretty sure I got to go dive into this one again. But I'll find their partners here in just a second. But they did just pop up on RWA XYZ. So I've been using, we've been using this site since the beginning. It was like actually launched. And I've seen every single one of these tokens added. Maple right now, number 8 out of the top 10 tokenized plays. And you have to realize Franklin Templeton, I don't necessarily count Securitize. These are institutions. The only cryptos in the top 10 are Ando, TrueFi, and Maple. So that is something to take note there. If that makes you bullish, great. I do like to see this though. Maple is actually up 20% in terms of market cap for the tokenized treasuries in the last 30 days.
Okay, that is bullish. I might have to start looking at some Maple. Maybe Maple's the DCA, not Chainlink. I would say these are my top 2 contenders right now as we speak. Smash the like for the Taylor Swift of crypto.
Wait, which one's the Taylor Swift? Is that Josh or is it Deezy? I don't know.
No, I'm the football playing fiance. I don't even know his name. That's how little I know about. My fiance loves Taylor Swift. I've listened to more than I wanted.
So wait, you're Travis Kelce. He's Taylor Swift. Is that
actually? I'm Travis Kelce's hard partying brother.
Oh, okay.
I got the same body.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Now, real quick, shout out to CMG's 510. Discover Crypto is my favorite go-to for crypto-related news. Love the show. I watch it every day. You guys are amazing. So shout out to you. We appreciate you. Wouldn't be able to do it without you guys.
Speaking of news, we got the funnest stories right now. One's scary. Let's talk about Brussels, everybody. Shock ECC robberies, rock crypto enthusiasts in Brussels. ECC hit by violent robberies as Brussels gathering exposes crypto conferences security risks. TJ, have you been following any of this on X?
Yeah, I saw some of it. I think it's a little overblown. Obviously it's some couple people it has happened. Kellum from BitLab Academy over there right now having a great time doing a lot of
well, Kelly's like in the red light district. He looks like a drunk local at this point.
Yeah.
So they're not robbing him. They think he's in the gang already.
What's the red light district?
The traffic is really bad and you're just never catching the green or even the yellow. Gotcha, man.
Yeah, it's like LA traffic.
Yeah, you're basically guaranteed the red light there. All right. Crypto conference lifeblood. This is kicking off. It just kicked off yesterday in Brussels, Belgium. Promise attendees 4 intense days of conferences, networks, and learning. And it looks like it's getting hit by violence. I just got robbed about an hour ago. My knee is badly injured, but I'm thankful that I'm fine otherwise. It's my first time in Brussels and Europe for this ETH conference. It's not a good representation of the whole country. I'm sharing this story to let everyone know that where you are, it's important to stay safe. Be safe, guys. I saw a lot of comments. People, Europe should pass some regulations to prevent theft. That's kind of funny. A lot of people are like, everyone that lives in Belgium avoids Brussels like the plague.
Yeah.
That is not the place you want to be at. Other people are sharing heat maps of crime. I've also seen heat maps of like the actual neighborhood and people just like circling areas like, stay away from there. And then the conference is like a block away.
Well, and it is like it's like the financial capital of the world too. So I'm not too surprised that people kind of pick that stuff off. But I will say that he's saying he's having a great time at the conference, met a lot of really good people, a lot of obviously big people like saw Joseph Lubin speak, a lot of people heavily involved in the Ethereum ecosystem, Near ecosystem. So a lot of really positive things coming out of it. I think the best comment I saw about this, there was also like a huge, not quite a flood, but basically like an insane hurricane type rain that came in and flooded out some of the conference. I know, Josh, you went through that
in Dubai.
Dubai. So somebody was like, man, if you're a faith person and you see all these deluge type rains coming in anytime they do a crypto conference, you'd think it's like some kind of sign from God or something. But it was like,
I actually almost wanted to look up Belgium's cloud seeding program.
Yeah, it's actually the government cloud seeding, and they're trying to force the blockchain out. They're like, stop.
They're trying to rain on they're literally raining on the parade. Yeah.
I would say it's a grain of sand on whether or not you want to go to the next conference. Like, man, like 3 times in a row, just didn't have a good time. And, subconsciously, you're just like, I didn't have a good time. Maybe it's because of the weather. I don't know. That'd be an interesting theory right there. That'd be very convoluted conspiracy.
We do know it's not going to be flooding in Nashville here later this month. So come hang out with us. If you're going to be at Bitcoin conference, let us know. Actually, let us know in the chat if you're going to be out at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville. We're going to have a whole lot going on out there, doing tons of content. So it should be a good time.
We'll be actually walking around live streaming, which is going to be crazy.
Yeah,
so,
we're going to be walking around like Vitalik was walking around. This is Vitalik. This is just like such a sycophantic post. When Vitalik I think it's sarcastic. When Vitalik makes an entry like this to a Web3 event in stormy Brussels rain, you know there's no stopping Ethereum. What a man! Here's the bastion of masculinity.
Vitalik is scary skinny.
Yes.
Scary skinny. Like that is anorexia.
I find it interesting. Very little security for someone who's like the head of a multi-billion-dollar asset.
Because he just doesn't care.
Just doesn't care.
Like, and also like I think he has the luxury of like everyone in crypto
dong.
loves him. So like, who's gonna, nobody outside of crypto knows him, but everybody in crypto loves him. So like, and he's got a really big weapon in his pants, and so people are very scared of this man.
Well, he has a nightstick.
You got to know he's going to have his security on point. So like, what would somebody do if you're talking about like kidnapping him and trying to get crypto or something like that? I mean,
I'll say this. You see billionaires with the same type. They all look like they have SEAL Team 6 around them. And it's not the giant 6'8" linebacker.
Yeah.
It's the guy that looked like Special Forces.
Yeah.
AKA Charles Hoskinson has like two of these people following him at all times. It looks like Tom Clancy with John Krasinski, AKA Jim from The Office. Well, it's like they look like Jim from like new Jim, not old Jim, new Jim.
Go back to that clip again, though. Is that the same clip?
That was the other one. Yeah, right here.
It's the guy holding the umbrella.
If that's his security, I feel like Charles Hoskinson's security team would squash him like a bug.
Yeah,
like a bug. Everybody. Johnny said this video is pretty interesting. It's like just a little highlight reel of Brussels. Maybe we'll see Kelly. Keep an eye out for Kelly.
Yeah.
But we need the nightlife for Kelly though. All right. I'm waiting for the rain. Okay, giant chess nerds. Where's Ben Cowan? All right. It doesn't even look that exciting, if I'm gonna be honest. All right.
It looks amazing. It looks like a time of my life.
It does. But speaking of time, there's some other. All right, let's briefly. I do want to look at the ETH whale stuff after brief distribution period. ETH whales back to accumulating ETH. We covered the Bitcoin whales at the top of the show. Bitcoin whales are gobbling it up. The old wallets, the big whales, the people that lose $500 million and don't care. They're buying Bitcoin. So the same thing is happening with Ethereum, folks. So just be careful, especially with these metrics. 40% is locked up. We got 28% staked, 12% smart contracts and bridges. ETH ETF flows are going to rapidly move this market. We've talked about this in the past. Bitcoin has selling pressure from the miners basically every 10 minutes. Let's just say every day there's massive amounts of Bitcoin hitting the market due to the miners. ETH doesn't really have the same situation there. They do have the ETH validators receiving ETH, but ETH at periods is deflationary versus Bitcoin's disinflationary. Polygon, some positives, some negatives. Matic's path in Q3. Just kind of looking at the TVL. TVL has declined over the past few months, following a peak in February, and then where it rose to above $1 billion, and now there's been a noticeable downward trend, and it is remaining bearish. That's the time when you got to start getting bullish on stuff, though. I will say that. This is a insane story, the craziest story. We almost shouldn't even mention it, folks. That's how crazy the story is, and it's why is XRP price up today? No, I'm joking. That's after this. Woman allegedly offered Bitcoin and sex for murder. This is a nuts, man. It reads like it's 2014. A New York former spa worker. Just picture that in your mind. A spa worker from New York.
That's
it's a type, right? They've been charged. She has been charged over her involvement in an alleged Bitcoin for murder scheme that saw her threaten to chop one intended victim into 100 pieces and offer a
100.
neighbor sex if they throw her body into a lake. In a letter of support for pretrial detention, aka do not let her out on bail. The prosecution details in 2019, Yu Zhao allegedly sought to hire a professional killer to murder her lover's spouse. It is claimed she paid $5,000 in Bitcoin in 2019. Can you just pull up Bitcoin in 2019? Just like roughly what we're looking at here. She paid $5,000 in Bitcoin to arrange the murder through a dark website. So she used like a dark web Bitcoin forum to hire a hitman. Well, during the planning phase, she reportedly shared details about the schedule, trying to ensure that it occurred at a convenient time, paid to have her lover's daughter killed. So, whoa, that's nuts. Warning, I will cut you up. So she paid $5,000 in Bitcoin to a broker, right? This hitman on this dark website. She gave him $5,000 in Bitcoin. Well, at some point, she began to suspect the website was illegitimate. And then she's like, hey, man, I gave you all this Bitcoin. You haven't been doing the K word yet. What's going on here? She sent several disturbing threats to the website administrator, threatening physical and sexual violence against him and his family. Like, hey, I'm using your website to hire this hitman, and he stole my Bitcoin. What gives? I'm coming after you now. What is this lady thinking, man? 2019. What were we looking at?
She sounds a little broken, but between the prices of actually even down to $3,000 and $9,000 Bitcoin. How are you looking at?
So a Bitcoin. Yeah, more than a Bitcoin.
It was a Bitcoin.
It was a Bitcoin.
It could have been 2 Bitcoin almost at one point.
A Bitcoin and a half.
Yeah.
All right. So try to do a Bitcoin and a half. Well, the defendant texted a neighbor of the daughter's, then she escalated. She went up to $10K in sexual favors in exchange for killing her. What's
that look like? How many favors is that? What type of favors? Is that a Haktua? Is that a...
I don't even like talking about that because it makes me feel like I'm in the movie Idiocracy.
I'm uncomfortable.
We're in the movie Idiocracy.
Have you seen that? That's on Netflix right now. I'm pretty sure it's called Hitman or The Hitman or something.
That was a great movie.
And it's about a guy who basically does this. He's a police officer, and you post these listings, you get people to say it, and then you just arrest them for it. It's a pretty funny movie, but
5K. She broke person.
And then he becomes a murderer.
Yeah. I can save her. Sinza, I'll go ahead and share her deets to you, and when she gets out on bail, just be careful. Treat her nicely. That's my recommendation. Treat her very nicely. Nice guys finish last. All right. Speaking of nice guys finishing last, let's talk about XRP.
Ooh.
XRP. Why the hell is this thing up today? Institutional inflows are the primary reason. It's driving along Xside alongside the rest of the crypto market while increasing the whale holdings, furthering the bullish outlook here.
What is it? Where is this story coming from?
So this might have been from 12 hours.
Back down to 43 cents.
Wow, that didn't last long. XRP prices, it was at one point up 3.5%. The funds were witnessing inflows during the price crash, a whopping 400K. That was Jake Claver talking one person into it. And then he's just like, God, I hope Jake didn't lead me off a cliff here. Since the report's publication on July 8th, XRP USD pair has risen nearly 10% in that period there. Inflows coincide with increasing Wall Street bets on a rate cut, prompted by weaker than expected jobs data released earlier in the week. Notably in the last 24 hours, XRP supply held by the whales, people with 100 million to 1 billion tokens. God dang. They accompanied a drop in supply held by the 10 to 100 million cohort. So the super whales increase, the 100 million to the 1 billion. The mini whales, the killer whales, they decrease in the 10 million to 100 million stack there. Meanwhile, the supply held by the addresses over 1 billion. Good Lord, these are the Leviathans. It's flat. All right. From a technical standpoint, the gains today, part of an oversold bounce. So a little red meat there for the XRP holders out there. You might get a little bit of a bounce. I do say, here's my XRP strategy. Josh, I don't know what you think about this, TJ. I think XRP is going to get some good news. I think they're going to probably do pretty well in their SEC case. Right now, they're fighting over the fine. Markets hate uncertainty. They're going to be like massive amounts of billions. It's going to be 200 million. If it goes to the low side, XRP is going to get a great pump. Last time XRP got great news, it doubled overnight, 43 cents to 86 cents. Next time it has a giga pump, get out, run, jump, leave, exit, put in a faster horse. That's my strategy. Would you say that's solid, or are you just getting out now?
I just don't care about it anymore.
You're just getting out now.
Like at this point, what's the news event actually going to do to the price? Is it going to give it a 100% pump? Is it going to be like 20? Are you going to go back to 60 cents? Like, that's amazing. But and I'm not trying to be like, just flood XRP in this case. It's just they won the lawsuit, got declared not a security, only based off institutional contracts for institutional sales. That was a huge victory. So is fighting over a $1 billion fine that's probably going to end up being 100 or 200 million going to change the world? I don't know. All I know is that they are selling off pretty much more XRP than the German government is selling Bitcoin monthly, and they've been doing that for like 4 years. So pick your poison.
Hey, that escrow wallet has to run out eventually.
I'm in tokenization. That's where I'm at.
All right. Well, that's where we're at. And folks, hit that like button on the way out. We appreciate it. Josh got a fantastic four. We got TJ party message.
We had a question from George Martinez asking what we thought about Seamless Protocol. I really didn't know anything about Seamless Protocol. I just looked it up. I mean, it's ranked, I think 3,000 something on
pretty new.
coin market cap. Yeah, it's pretty new. It's through January. But when I looked at it, it is actually pretty interesting. I mean, there's a little bit of a sell-off based, from when it launched, which is pretty standard, but not as dramatic as others when you look at the chart. I don't know.
It's a little high float, but nothing crazy.
If you're, the concept is basically it's DeFi on Base. It's lending, borrowing, and stuff through, across Base, across other different chains. I like the concept, the niche, the backers, and it has people from Aave and different.
I would say their main competitor isn't going to be another Base ecosystem play. It's going to be a play that does the same thing for all EVMs. And,
we're seeing that a lot. We're seeing a lot of DeFi-based, automated DeFi contributors or lending-based protocols across different ecosystems. I think some will pan out. So this is one, like I said, very little research done. I'm not saying this is an amazing thing, but I'm kind of intrigued. And in the 10 minutes that I looked at it, made me want to look at it a little bit more. So I don't hate it. It's a pretty low market cap play, fully diluted market cap of 250 million. Brand new project. Not a bad idea for whoever was asking about it. You're probably heading in the right direction.
All right. I do want to say, just a quick reminder, guys, we are doing the $100 cash giveaway. It will be chosen on X here right after this show. So make sure you guys go check that out. I'll even put the link in the chat for you guys. And then if you haven't already, guys, again, we're doing another $10,000 worth of raffles, giveaways, and live streams and stuff like that with CoinW. So make sure you guys check out the Duke listing that is coming out. But let me go ahead and throw this in the comment. And of course, guys, go qualify for that $100 and follow Discover Crypto on Twitter, guys. We'll be doing these giveaways a ton for you guys just for the support and engagement coming from you all. Much love. Hit that like on your way out. On that,
it will see you in the future.
4 p.m.